Thanks, Goose. Isometric click-em-ups seem to breed demon hunting games, which is fine by us when they're as good as Victor Vran.
Zagoravia, the fallen city, the land of no return, where darkness won and we demon hunters lost. She asks them to do the impossible. What they need now is a sliver of hope.
The city of Zagoravia has fallen to demons, but Victor Vran is no ordinary demon hunter. This game is brought to us by Hammerman Games, a Bulgarian developer. They've been around since the late 90s and brought us the last few Tropico games. This is their first try at an action RPG, but they come off as veterans of the genre, don't they?
It's very slick, isn't it? Victor Vran has a lot going for it in terms of overall design and gameplay mechanics. For example, it lets you move the camera.
Ah, so good.
Yes, and such a rare thing for click-em-ups, which usually lock your perspective on the world. Barjo, now that I've had camera control, I cannot go back.
Me either. It's just nice to be able to readjust when you want a better angle on what you're fighting. And there's great technology which hides whatever's in the foreground as you move the camera around. It really frees up how you play this kind of game. Also, Hex, you can jump.
What?
In a click-em-up. Up and down.
Amazing. Once again, something that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really is.
I kept forgetting I could do it. I was in this hedge maze for ages and I couldn't figure out how to get out of it, and then there were these spiders in there that I couldn't quite hit, and then, oh yeah, I could just jump over the fence.
There's so often in this genre of game you'll be limited by barriers and the environment. So you're always walking around stuff to get to other parts of the map. And this was a welcome change.
Yes, and on top of that, Victor can also wall jump. It's also how you find many of the game's secret areas, which are quite fun to hunt down.
And you can do all this with a keyboard or controller, and both work perfectly. Of course, what makes a game like this is the monster smashing and the loot grabbing, and there is plenty of both. Victor's main abilities are based on whatever weapon you have equipped. Swords are good for one-on-one fights. Hammers are slow and pack a heavy punch. Shotguns are great at range. Electricity guns are powerful, but also tend to damage you. So each weapon is often better for different situations.
Yes, when you're faced with multiple enemies, however, nothing beats the mortar. Oh, I love the mortar so much, Hex. I love charging up those shots and letting them fly. And towards the end of the game, I got a rare one, and it just became my go-to destruction machine. So satisfying.
And brutal. It is spectacular and everything's just going off at once. The visual effects are just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the abilities and weapons you use are empowered by cards that you pick up throughout the game. So if you're going for crits, it's time to stack those crit bonuses and watch everything explode.
There's plenty to play with as well in terms of what kind of hunter you want to be. Leveling is at a perfect pace, so you're always given a rewarding drip feed of options and gear too. There's a great balance of progression and combat.
Yeah, and part of that might be because the game was in early access for many months before it was officially recently released. You really get the sense that the community has helped shape this game for the better.
There's great monster variety too. There are a lot of spiders, of course, and they're fun to squish, but you also come across a good amount of demonic nasties to deal with. And they're often not easy to take down, combining debuffs and AoEs to make combat engaging. You are always moving, especially in boss fights, which are often multi-stage. Glorious combat, Barjo.
It really is. There are also cards that give you overdrive abilities, and these have their own strategies and bonuses too. They are powerful abilities and often get you out of trouble, but really it's just more tools to customize your playstyle.
The game also integrates combat challenges in a fun way. As you enter each area, you get a choice of hexes to activate. These are risk-reward options, such as periodically taking random damage, but you get a percentage of extra XP or loot drops. You're encouraged to turn these on for specific chest rewards, but you don't have to. It's just another way to let you push harder to get more stuff.
Yeah, normally I don't bother with those kinds of challenges, but it just had that right balance of being difficult enough but also rewarding enough at the same time.
Yeah, in fact, they've thought really hard about how to reward the player in general, haven't they? There are so many challenges in each area, and you'll often just complete a few by playing normally. And it's such a shower of glory too. Gold, XP, a chest. It's always exciting when they slam down into the ground.
Yeah, it's obvious they've taken a few cues from Diablo and other games in the genre on that front, but it works well. And it's such a beautiful game too. The locations are detailed and crafted carefully.
Oh look, a circus.
And there's plenty of destruction.
The character art is also quite striking, isn't it?
Praise heavens.
Welcome to Zagoravia, Hunter.
I've heard of him, but we never crossed paths.
Yeah, they're really cool, and the voice acting is perfect.
My own kin forgot my words and the purpose given to them.
The story is told through a few simple 2D cutscenes.
There was a prosperous kingdom. Its citizens enjoyed a life of wealth, luxury, and knowledge.
But mostly you'll follow the plot through voiceover from the tortured soul of Victor himself.
Not the stale, dry smell of a tomb. No, this is another all too familiar smell.
And a strange voice that fills his head as he wanders about.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's just enough to follow what's going on, and there's even a few twists and turns to keep things interesting.
There's something about that voice. Something I can't quite place.
The game has a decent length too, of around 13 hours for the main campaign. Hex, I think the reason why this little independent game is so engaging is that they've managed to drill down on the most important features of this genre. The combat's always fun, you're just always progressing and leveling up, there's always more gear to try, and you're always being given things for doing things. It's that focus on reward for hard work.
Yeah, and that's no easy task. In fact, what I like most about this game, Bajo, is that everything just makes sense visually. From debuffs to enemy and damage types to simple user interface menus, it's always easy to understand what's going on with clear on-screen indicators, even in the middle of a hectic fight.
Yeah, you're never left wondering what's going on here. Which I think we especially notice coming from the complicated and somewhat confusing systems behind the incredible adventures of Van Helsing 3, which we reviewed not too long ago. And they've also added co-op multiplayer, which is functional and lag-free and works well.
We also have to mention too that there is an expansion on the way that is Motorhead themed. That's right, the 70s rock and roll band that is known for Ace of Spades.
I read online that it will be heavily inspired by the band's history, lyrics, and general attitude.
What is the general attitude of Motorhead?
I don't know, but I want to know. Hex, I love this game. I'm giving it 4.5 stars.
It's 4 from me.
You know, I used to be a hunter like you, until I took an arrow to the knee.